Now, here's a story that won't go away, and in fact, it's made the full page of number 3 in the Daily Mail this morning. The headline there, foul, the glamorous doctor, the flamboyant manager who's axed her, and a sexism row that's tearing football apart. This is the story of the Chelsea team doctor, Eva Carneiro.
She's become something of a hero, a heroine, hasn't
well,
she?
In the eyes of some, certainly, Nicky.
Yes.
She has attracted sympathy and applause from her supporters. But Jose Mourinho has been told to apologise to her for publicly humiliating her by Liverpool's former head of medicine, Dr. Peter Bruckner. Now, what happened? You'll know this story, I'm sure, by now. But if you don't, Carneiro angered the Chelsea boss after running onto the pitch to treat Eden Hazard towards the end of their match against Swansea. The team already had a man down. Mourinho described his medical staff as impulsive and naive, adding they did not understand the game. She's not the only one who's been taken off frontline duties. The physio has as well. Peter Bruckner is now the Australia cricket team's doctor, formerly of Liverpool, as I mentioned, and he told 5 Live Sport that Mourinho's criticism was unfair and Carneiro should not have her role changed.
They were appropriately hesitant, if you like, and only went on, when the second sort of summons came, if you like. So, I can't. I mean, leaving aside, other issues and so on, which I'm not aware of, and which have been alluded to, I don't know anything about those. But I mean, simply what happened on Saturday was that the doctor was 100% correct, and the manager, in my opinion, was 100% wrong.
Well, let's speak to Dr. Ralph Rodgers, who is a former Chelsea first-team doctor, served under Carlo Ancelotti. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
In the words of Peter Bruckner, then, the Dr. Eva Carneiro was 100% right. Do you agree?
It's quite interesting. It's never 100% of anything. I think he alluded to, as far as jumping onto the pitch for an injured player, that's our duty of care. So we have to do that. And we have to be seen to be doing that, and that's the right thing to do. But it was a bit bizarre because whenever I heard Jose talk about his medical staff, it's always been with praise. He's looked at them as being a part of their support team. So the whole thing was a bit strange towards the end, and I think probably one of the biggest mistakes, because there's a lot of different things going on here.
So there's more to this than meets the eye, you think? These issues
exactly,
that Peter Bruckner refers to. Mm.
Exactly, and I'm not aware of them. But what I can say is that going on social media will never help any one of these things, and I think that's where Eva was wrong. But as far as her going onto the pitch for an injured player and her judgment, I'm not going to question that. I wasn't there.
Yeah, and also there is some dispute as to whether she was called onto the pitch by the player, by the referee, so then she has to respond, doesn't she? The social media thing is interesting. She went onto Facebook and she said thanks for the support on her personal page. Now, if you were to receive hundreds, I don't know, possibly thousands of messages of people saying, look, we think you do your job really well, so on and so forth, wouldn't you want to make some kind of public statement of thanks? What's wrong with that?
There's a lot wrong with that. You are a support staff, and we're all taught in our medical training, especially in sports medicine training, that you are part of the sports staff. You're not one of the stars, so to speak. And I thought that's where she was wrong. And it's almost, I mean, you can look at this a number of ways, but it's almost a slap in the face to the manager. And that has been also alluded to me by a couple of my colleagues, as well as people from the United States. Why would she go to social media? It's just something we, as a profession, ethically should not be doing.
It's interesting. You have a different perspective on this, because I would just regard that as a polite acknowledgement.
Yeah, that might be your take on it. But I'm telling you from my perspective from a medical physician is that we shouldn't be on social media.
At all.
Well, no, we shouldn't be on social media in this particular case.
Or referring perhaps to your professional work, yeah. It's not just her. I mentioned that the physio, John Head, we understand, none of this has been confirmed by Chelsea, but he's also been taken away from frontline duties. Do you think that this was a very public humiliation, Jose Mourinho, the way he reacted on the pitch when she went on? Do you think he should apologise? Do you think he's got some sort of...
What you don't want to do is undermine a manager, especially of this stature. Whether he should apologize, that's entirely up to him. I don't think we know everything. As I said from the very beginning, which I thought was very bizarre, one of the things I admired about Mourinho is the fact that he's always praised his medical staff wherever he was, wherever he's been in Europe. He's always praised his medical staff as being part of the team, as helping him. So we don't know everything that's going on. This might be the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't know the ins and outs of what's happened. But what's really interesting is what we as a society want to do is grab the easiest headline, the sexiest headline to say, hey, look, this is what it is.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the
sexiest
headline. I mentioned the Daily Mail this morning. They call it a sexism row. Is that what it is in your view?
No, absolutely not. She's a professional. And I think it detracts from what sexism really is. You see, when we start putting these labels on things, it really detracts from it. She's a professional. She's there to do a professional job. And I think she would actually admit to that. And I would hope that she would admit to that she's bigger than that. In fact, it's about her being a professional and what she did as a professional. And in fact, that would be a compliment to her. I don't see her, Eva, as a woman. I see her as a sports physician.
Yeah. Okay. And as you say, it looks like there might be other stuff going on behind the scenes. We just don't know. None of it's been clarified by Chelsea anyway. So we'll wait to see. Just briefly, do you think she'll survive at the club?
That's not up to me to decide, but I can only tell you there has to be a very good relationship. From my experience, there has to be a very good relationship between the medical staff or the physician and the manager. And the manager has to be able to trust the medical judgment that he's receiving. And it's one of these things, when that type of thing is broken, where do you go? It's like you going to your physician and he tells you one thing and it turns out to be another thing, and then you lose trust in that individual. When that trust is broken, where can you go?
Okay.
It's just not like a marriage counselor. It's going to be difficult.
Thank you. Thanks for your thoughts, Dr. Ralph Rogers, former Chelsea first team doctor.